You think you know when a woman is falling for you, but I promise you, you don't. Because the truth is, when a woman is truly catching feelings, she doesn't tell you. She hides it. She buries it under composure, sarcasm, or indifference. And that's where most men get lost. They chase words while missing the truth that's written all over her silence. What I'm about to reveal in this video will change how you see every woman who's ever crossed your path. Because there are secret signs, psychological, emotional, even spiritual, that she's already falling for you. Even when she's trying her hardest to hide it, you'll start to notice how her tone shifts, how her energy changes, how her eyes can't lie even when her mouth does. You'll see that love doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers in ways only a man with awareness can hear, and if you learn to recognize those signs, you'll stop chasing the wrong women and finally understand the right ones. Because the woman who hides her feelings isn't being cold, she's being careful, she's protecting something sacred, and she's waiting to see if you're the kind of man who can make her feel safe enough to reveal it. Stay with me until the end of this video. Not just to understand women. Sign 1. She mirrors your actions better, but to understand emotional depth itself. Because once you see what's really happening beneath her silence, you'll never misread love again. What I'm about to share isn't a trick, it's a truth. One that will open your eyes to how real attraction works and why the quietest moments are the loudest signs that she's already falling for you. You can always tell when a woman is beginning to fall for a man, not because she says it, but because she can't completely hide it. Her silence begins to speak in ways words never could. It's subtle, quiet, yet powerful enough to change the entire energy between you. Most men miss this. They're too focused on what she's saying, waiting for a confession, for a sign that spells it out clearly. But love doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it whispers through micro moments that only an emotionally aware man can sense. When a woman starts to fall, her body and her emotions betray her before her words ever do. Her eyes begin to linger. But when you notice, she quickly looks away, not because she's disinterested, but because you've just caught her in the act of feeling. That fleeting second when her sign to prolonged eye contact gaze drops or her lips pressed together is her heart's reflex to being seen. You've touched something she's not ready to admit yet, and her instinct is to retreat, not out of rejection, but out of fear of exposure. Women don't fear falling in love, they fear what happens when they do. Because for most women, emotional connection isn't casual, it's costly, it comes with vulnerability, surrender, and the risk of losing control. So instead of speaking her feelings, she'll communicate them in layers through tone, presence, and behavior. When she pauses before responding, when her voice softens slightly, when she remembers something you said weeks ago, these are her subconscious attempts at connection. It's her heart trying to express itself while her mind tries to maintain control. And this is where most men fail to see the truth. They chase verbal confirmation, asking, "Do you like me? Are you into me?" But the real answer is already in front of them in how she treats them differently from everyone else. If you pay attention, you'll notice how her energy changes in your presence. The tension in her body softens. Her laughter becomes more genuine, her attention sharper. She's sign 3. Quick replies to texts, listens more carefully as if your words carry weight no one else's do. That's not politeness, that's emotional investment. When a woman is falling for you, her silence becomes emotionally charged. Every pause, every look, every shift in her tone holds meaning. She's observing you, not testing you, but feeling you. She's trying to decide if her emotions are safe with you. That's why her actions sometimes feel inconsistent. One moment she's open and warm, the next she's distant. It's not manipulation, it's hesitation. She's wrestling between the desire to surrender and the instinct to protect herself. If you want to understand a woman at that stage, you have to learn to listen beyond the surface. Listening doesn't mean waiting for your turn to speak. It means being still enough to feel what's not being said. The greatest mistake men make is assuming that silence means indifference. In reality, silence often means she's overwhelmed, not by confusion, but by emotion. She's processing what her heart already knows, but her mind hasn't yet accepted. And this is the part that separates emotionally intelligent men from the rest. The man who truly understands sign for playful teasing. Women doesn't rush to label her feelings or demand answers. He doesn't get frustrated when she hesitates or goes quiet. Instead, he mirrors calmness. He makes her feel safe enough to express what she's been suppressing, because when a woman senses emotional safety, her silence transforms into trust, and trust is the soil in which real love grows. You have to realize for many women, falling in love is not just emotional, it's existential. It shakes the foundation of who they are, it brings up memories, fears, and questions they didn't even know they carried. So when she's quiet, when she looks away, when she changes the topic to hide her blush, that's not her hiding from you, that's her hiding from herself. She's feeling something she can't fully control, and that terrifies her more than it excites her. Your role in that moment isn't to push or depry, it's to witness, to hold space for her emotions without trying to fix them, to make her feel that her feelings are safe in your presence. Because when she feels emotionally understood, she doesn't need to hide anymore. Her silence becomes her confession. Her eyes become her language, and her energy becomes her truth. So the next time you sense a sign 5, physical touch increases woman's silence. Don't mistake it for distance. Look deeper. Her stillness might be screaming the words she's too afraid to say. And when you learn to hear that kind of silence, you'll never miss real love again, because love doesn't always speak in words. Sometimes it just looks at you and quietly hopes you'll understand. When a woman starts acting distant, colder, or less responsive, most men panic. They assume she's losing interest or that she's playing games. But in truth, the psychology behind that behavior is far more complex and far more revealing. A woman who begins to pull away when she's emotionally drawn to you isn't rejecting you. She's protecting herself from the possibility of getting hurt. Her fear isn't about you specifically. It's about what falling for you represents. Falling means surrendering control. It means risking disappointment. It means being seen. And that kind of vulnerability terrifies most people, especially women who have been emotionally bruised before. This is where emotional intelligence becomes your greatest strength, because if you look at her behavior through the lens of fear instead of frustration, everything starts to make sense. That hesitation, sign 6, she gets protective. You feel the slight delay in her replies, the way she suddenly becomes busy. It's her way of creating emotional distance to manage the intensity of what she's feeling. She's trying to convince herself that she's not falling too hard, too fast. She's building a wall not to block you out, but to stop herself from running too deep too soon. You see, women are intuitive. They sense when something is real long before they admit it to themselves. When her emotions start to deepen, her logical mind kicks in to protect her heart. She'll question your intentions, she'll replay past experiences that ended in pain, she'll analyze your actions for inconsistency, and when the fear becomes too loud, she'll withdraw. Not because she wants to, but because that's how she keeps control of her emotional safety. This is why so many men misread emotional withdrawal as rejection. They respond by chasing harder, demanding clarity, trying to pull her closer, and that only triggers her fear further. The truth is, when a woman begins to act cold, what she's really doing is testing the environment. She's subconsciously asking, is my heart safe here? Can I trust this man with my feelings? And how? Sign 7, asking personal questions. You respond in those moments determines everything. A woman who's falling but afraid doesn't need grand declarations or desperate pursuit. She needs emotional stability. She needs to feel that your presence is steady, even when hers wavers, because when you remain calm, patient, and grounded while she's uncertain, you create safety. And safety melts fear faster than any romantic words ever could. Fear in women often shows up as control. It's the illusion of strength used to mask emotional chaos. She might appear indifferent, even distant, but inside she's overthinking every word, every silence, every interaction. The paradox is that her fear is proof of how deeply she already cares. She wouldn't be this guarded if you didn't matter. Indifference doesn't create anxiety. Attachment does. The very fact that she's holding back means she's already emotionally involved. You must understand something fundamental. Women do not fear love. They fear unsafe love. They fear being emotionally invested in someone who won't hold their heart with care. That's why the strongest emotional attraction often triggers the deepest fear when she feels something rare. And sign 8, remembering small details. Powerful, her mind rushes to remind her of every time she trusted too easily, gave too much, or got hurt for believing. That inner battle plays out through her mixed signals. One part of her wants to run toward you, the other part wants to retreat to safety. So what should you do when she starts acting distant? You stay consistent. You don't punish her silence with silence. You don't respond to coldness with anger. You don't demand emotions she isn't ready to share. You simply keep showing up calm, kind, steady, because when a woman realizes that your energy doesn't waver when hers does, her fear begins to lose power. She starts to feel emotionally secure, and that's when she stops running. The mistake most men make is assuming that emotional strength means dominance. It doesn't. It means stability, the ability to remain centered when emotions get chaotic. The man who can stay composed when a woman pulls back is the man who earns her trust, her respect, and eventually her heart. You're not trying to fix her fear, you're showing her through consistency that there's nothing to fear. Every woman who's been through heartbreak carries a hidden armor. It's invisible but heavy, and when you meet sign initiating conversations her, she might not be ready to take it off yet. Don't rush that process. The more patient you are, the more you'll see that beneath that guarded exterior is a heart that's craving to be understood. So when she goes quiet, when she starts creating distance, remember this: the walls she's building aren't to keep you out. They're to see if you care enough to stay. Her fear isn't a rejection of you. It's a reflection of how much she wishes you're different from the ones before. Stay calm when she's uncertain. Stay present when she hesitates. Stay grounded when she tests your patience. Because when a woman feels that her fear no longer controls the connection, she lets love win. And that's the moment she stops hiding. Not because you demanded her heart, but because she finally feels safe enough to give it. When a woman hides her emotions, it's not a game. It's a language. And how you respond to that silence determines whether you ever get to see the truth behind it. This is where most men lose her without even realizing it. They mistake her hesitation for indifference, her withdrawal for rejection, and her quietness for disinterest. But what she's really doing is watching. She's studying your energy. She wants to see what kind of man you are when she's not giving you what you want. Because that's sign 10. Subtle jealousy hints when your true character shows, not when things are easy, but when she becomes emotionally unpredictable. Every woman who hides her feelings is protecting something sacred. Her trust. She doesn't open her heart to just anyone. She watches how you handle discomfort. She notices if you get irritated when she doesn't reply right away, if you go cold when she goes silent, if you punish her emotionally when she pulls back. In those quiet moments, she's not looking for perfection, she's looking for emotional safety. That's the foundation of every deep feminine connection. Without it, no amount of attraction will ever evolve into love. A woman's hidden emotions are not meant to confuse you, they're meant to reveal you. How do you respond when you're not in control? When she doesn't give you validation? When she's scared and uncertain? Most men either chase harder or give up entirely. Both reactions stem from insecurity, from needing her emotional availability to feel powerful, but the man who truly understands women doesn't operate from that space. He knows that emotional maturity means staying grounded when she's not. It means being the calm in her emotional storm, not another source. Bonus tip: how to respond to these signs of chaos. This is why emotional intelligence is the most attractive quality a man can have. Because when a woman hides her feelings, what she's really doing is mirroring her inner conflict. She wants to be seen but she's afraid of exposure. She wants to be understood, but she doesn't want to be judged. If you respond to that by getting defensive or impatient, she shuts down even more. But if you respond with presence, quiet, steady, confident presence, you communicate something powerful. You don't need to hide here. You don't need to fix her emotions, decode them, or demand explanations. You just need to show her that you can handle her uncertainty without making it about you. That's what creates emotional trust. And trust, not attraction, is what ultimately makes a woman fall deeply. Because attraction is biological, but safety is emotional, and love is built on both. Think about this. When she goes silent, she's watching if your energy shifts. Do you stay patient or become reactive? Do you accuse her of playing games or do you give her space while staying emotionally available? Every reaction you give teaches her something about who you are and women. Conclusion: building confidence in love. Remember emotional patterns more than words. They might forget what you said, but they never forget how you made them feel. A lot of men think dominance means control, that being masculine means leading forcefully, but in truth, leadership in relationships is about emotional direction, not domination. When you can stay emotionally composed, you guide the relationship out of confusion and into clarity. You lead not by telling her what to feel, but by showing her what safety feels like. That's how trust is built, through consistency, through stillness, through the unspoken message that you can handle her heart without dropping it. And here's the truth. If she's hiding her emotions, it's because she's been in environments where expressing them was punished or dismissed. She's learned to protect herself through silence. That means when she meets a man who doesn't pressure her to open up, but instead creates a calm, stable space, it disarms her. It feels unfamiliar but deeply healing. For the first time, she can be seen without fear. You have to understand that being emotionally strong doesn't mean being unemotional. It means staying grounded when others aren't. It means having the maturity to listen without reacting, to give space without call to action. Like, share, subscribe, withdrawing to care without controlling. That's what differentiates the average man from the evolved one. The evolved man doesn't chase love, he creates the conditions where love can grow. So the next time a woman seems distant, remember it's not always about what she's feeling for you, but what she's afraid to feel for herself. Your role isn't to pull her out of hiding, it's to become the kind of man she no longer has to hide from. You don't earn her love by demanding it, you earn it by being the calm she can finally rest in. And when she realizes that your energy doesn't change, even when hers does, that's when everything changes. Because in that moment, she stops testing, she stops hiding, and she starts trusting. And once a woman trusts you with her emotions, she gives you something far greater than love. She gives you access to her soul. So remember this. The real test isn't whether she confesses her feelings,